Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today I'm showing the new recently released ship, the one that's been hyped for a while now, the Stalingrad. Yay, the Stalingrad's actually out. Before I get going, I am joined with Flame Prince in the Hakaym, and we are currently playing on Mountain Range with a actual bonus. This is actually going to be a CV game, and this is actually slightly beneficial because now I can actually show you the AA of the ship. As you can see, fairly standard as far as tier 10s. A lot of tier 10 destroyers, only one tier 10 cruiser on the enemy team. We have two, while the enemy team has two Montanas, and we have a Republic and a Kurfürst. So the Stalingrad, what's so different about the Stalingrad? The Stalingrad is essentially a battle cruiser. She's not really a cruiser by any stretch of the imagination. She now holds the record as far as the largest health pool in the game, 72,450. She has very thick armor, ranging up to 617 millimeters thick, so very thick armor. Very standard play as far as the Moskva. And she's really big. She has a huge turning circle radius, I believe well over 1 kilometer in the turning circle radius, so she's definitely not a ship that is very capable at doing very tight turns. Her guns are also pretty fantastic, as you will be seeing in this battle. They are 305 millimeters, they're fairly thick. And one other thing to keep in mind is, well, she doesn't really slow down very quickly. Right now I'm actually trying to get shots possibly on that Salem. And as you can see, attracting the attention of the enemy team, we're going to be doing that quite a bit in this battle. But even though it is essentially a cruiser, it does have 305. And the reason why I'm pointing this out, as this Montana is just about to experience any moment now. Oh, looky there, there's a Citadel. You can Citadel, obviously, because these are much larger caliber guns. These are 305, able to penetrate through battleship armor. You can Citadel battleships. I've done it against Yamatos. I believe I did it on a live stream. So, very, very strong. I honestly don't think I've used the HE all too often. The AP is pretty strong, even against destroyers. Now, as you can see, we've actually done a really good job as far as bouncing and ricocheting a lot of shells. Her armor is very nice. There's no like ifs, ands, or buts about it. However, just like the Moskva, if you can get around the Stalingrad, she's very, very squishy. So do keep that in mind to play the Stalingrad, very similar to the Moskva. Now, here's another thing, is she's actually a fairly quick cruiser for her size. I believe getting up to around 35 knots with speed flag, might just be a little bit under that, but she's still a very quick cruiser for her size, and she is tanky. This is going to be the normal kind of style of gameplay for Moskva. Now, she's not immune to being focused down, to being burned down, and she can't with hell sustain fire from the enemy target. So you do have to be really careful about your battle. Right now, honestly, I probably could have switched over to the HE. It would have been fine, but as you probably are well aware, since we have these much larger caliber guns, they do take a little bit longer to reload. And as I pointed out at the beginning of the battle, this is actually a CV battle. And enemy CV is bringing in torpedo planes to focus on the enemy Bismarck. And keep in this mind, it is a Hakaym. So these are tier 9 planes we're shooting down. But the Stalingrad actually does have defensive AA, which is going to help our Bismarck. And I will give props to, we do actually have a few friendly ships around here. We have Megami, we have a Shema, who I believe is very low on health. And we have the Bismarck that was pushing in and was trying to help out. Now, the enemy team is, at least half of them are on this side, and are definitely being a slight annoyance. They have captured C, however, we've captured A and B. And they're fairly all holed up on that very northern side of C, so not the best position. They're not really able to do very much. There's, I believe, a Des Moines, a Salem, 2 Montanas, Akazuki, and the Z-52, while the tier 8 ships are currently facing off against our tier 10s. So, not the greatest as far as that. Now, the Stalingrad also has radar, which is 11.7 kilometers. So, decent amount of time I did get the upgrade for the radar, so it lasts longer. So I believe it lasts for about 40 seconds, maybe about 35. So decent length and decent range. I should really stop saying length. Decent range and decent radar duration. Now, one downside of the Stalingrad, and as you are seeing this right now, we're not able to shoot over this island. This island's not that tall. Now, if this was a Des Moines, a Worcester, a Minotaur, Hindenburg, even I think a Zhao could possibly shoot over this island at this angle, but it's just too tall because the velocity of the shells is just that quick and doesn't have a lot of loftiness to it, so you're not able to shoot over islands that easily. Now, it is a Salem, and Salem is essentially a Des Moines, and this Salem is trying to reposition and is going to show me a lot of broadside and trying to get around the corner. Let's see if we can at least do a significant amount of damage. And did I also mention the dispersion on the ship is fantastic? It is very, very tight, very accurate, and very deadly. I have dev struck enemy Stalingrads, and I have been dev struck by enemy Stalingrads as well, so very, very deadly. And I should also mention the AP is similar to the AP of the Des Moines, which means it has very good penetration values, so it's able to pen targets even at a more steeply angle than you would normally expect. Now, this Montana did kind of feel that 12,000 off there, but it's not perfect. As you did see, we did get one broken shell. Definitely would like to take out the enemy Salem, but he's fairly angled, not really worth my time. Now, the Montana can penetrate. You will be able to at least ricochet and try to negate as much damage as possible, but at this moment our best solution is actually trying to reverse. Once again, that Salem showing a lot of broadside, taking a while for us to reload our guns. Shots out, dispersion kind of went a little wonky. Got a decent amount of damage there, but as you saw right there, we were able to actually ricochet some of the Montana shells and actually took very minimal amount of damage. Now, on the left hand side of this, as we get a nice citadel on that Salem, you'll see the mod that I actually have. This actually shows off your AA guns and your secondaries. Now, this is also shown if you press H, which I don't think I can do it in the replay, but you can do this in battle. And you can see our AA for our short and mid-range is about half. Our long range is full strength. Now, the Stalingrad is actually a little bit different than most cruisers. Most times your short and your mid-range is where you're going to be getting the most DPM out of it. But on the Stalingrad, it's the opposite. Her long range AA is the best. And here comes the enemy Hakaym. Pop my AA, and already we're starting to shoot down some planes. And obviously now the Hakaym can't land a perfect salvo of torps. And for us, we're actually lucky enough that I don't know exactly. He dropped it so far behind. I don't exactly know what he expected to do there. Yeah, that was kind of an odd drop, to be perfectly honest. So, decent amount of AA. We shot down 17 planes in this battle, and this battle is going to end relatively quickly. The enemy team have lost 5 of their ships, and we've only lost 1. Their Montana is getting low in health. Their Salem is now pushing off against their R, I guess you should say, our tier 10 battleships. So he is definitely going to be in a very precarious situation. And it really just comes down to the fact that our team was able to push out from the ASI and corral them into this just one corner. that they're not really able to do all too much. So the Stalingrad, it's a strong ship. It is downright a very strong ship. Its shells are very powerful, it has good velocity, it has good armor, but it's very similar to Moskva, and Moskva, as many people know, has weaknesses, and the Stalingrad still has those weaknesses. So very, very fun. And though I don't know if I really much care for the fact that they're essentially selling this ship for, I think, 28,000 steel. I might be a little bit off, but you can get a coupon with that. I think I got the Stalingrad for around 22,000 steel, which wasn't all too difficult, especially if you did play clan battles and did rank. You get a decent amount of steel, but here in just a moment the enemy team is going to lose their destroyer, and lo and behold, there is the enemy Hakaym just to our northeast. However, we are going to win on points, and I am not going to be able to do any damage to the enemy Hakaym, because that essentially is going to be it right there. So not a bad battle with the Stalingrad. Very much so. You can definitely get a lot of damage in this ship. Very, very capable. You could also take a look at some of the live stream that I did with her when I first got her, but not a bad battle. So my thoughts on the Stalingrad, pretty much, it's a good ship. It's a fun ship if you like the Moskva way. I'm not a huge Moskva person, but it's still very, very fun. She's very, very strong, but she also has her weaknesses, which I'm very, very grateful for. 594,000 credits. Decent amount of silver earned there. Definitely good money maker, because it is a tier 10. You are doing more damage, but also more percentile damage. 119,168. 3 citadels. One citadel was in fact on a Montana that was about 15 to 18 kilometers away. 17 planes shot down, so AA is decent. 2 capacitation and 5 secondaries. So as far as damage, you can see the Montana, we did around 74,000, Salem around 28. I probably should have been better at killing that Salem. He was showing a lot of broadside. I will have to say I don't play Russian cruisers very often, so I do misjudge the velocity on the shells at time. Decent amount as also taking down aircraft. Hakaym, we only got around 3,000, which was alright, I guess, but overall, not too bad. And we're gonna go ahead and end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what we saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zaijian.